My parents stole $350,000 from the savings I'd spent years building. Mom laughed. Thanks for funding our 30th anniversary vacation. I just smiled. 2 weeks later, they called me from Paris, screaming and panicking. I spent 12 years building that savings account, not because I wanted a mansion or a sports car. I owned a small electrical contracting business outside Indianapolis, and every extra dollar went into one account with one goal: buying the commercial building I had been renting for years. If I owned it, I'd stop throwing money away on rent and finally have something stable. By the time I turned 38, the account had just over $350,000. My parents knew about it because they'd always asked questions. Mom liked to brag about my business to relatives, and Dad constantly reminded everyone that I'd learned discipline from him. The truth was different. I'd worked 60-hour weeks while they retired early, after spending most of their money on boats, RVs, and vacations. Every holiday dinner somehow turned into a lecture about how I should enjoy life more, even though they were the ones living beyond their means. Still, they were my parents. About 6 months before everything happened, Dad asked if I'd help them organize their finances online because they kept forgetting passwords. While setting everything up, Mom insisted it would be easier if I added her as an emergency contact on a few accounts. I didn't think twice. That was my mistake. A week before they left for Europe to celebrate their 30th anniversary, I tried wiring the deposit for the commercial building. The transfer failed. I assumed it was the bank. Then I checked the balance: $817. I stared at the screen until the numbers blurred. The bank manager sat me down in a small office. Every transfer had been authorized using my online credentials. New devices had been added. Security notifications had been acknowledged. Then she showed me something that made my stomach drop. The recovery email had been changed months earlier. To my mother's. The bank couldn't reverse anything because every transaction appeared properly authorized. I drove straight to my parents' house. They were loading suitcases into an airport shuttle. I asked one question: "Where's my money?" Mom froze for half a second before smiling. "Oh, you noticed." Dad folded his arms. Mom actually laughed. "Thanks for funding our 30th anniversary vacation." She laughed like she'd borrowed a lawnmower instead of draining my life savings. Dad shrugged. "You've got plenty of time to make more." I looked at both of them. Then I smiled. "Have a great trip." Mom seemed disappointed that I wasn't yelling. Dad grinned like he'd won. They climbed into the shuttle. I watched them drive away. Then I started making phone calls. My attorney was first, then my accountant, then the detective assigned to financial crimes. The money wasn't simply gone. The transfers had created a perfect paper trail. Even better, my parents documented nearly every dollar they spent by posting photos from London, Paris, and Milan. Fancy restaurants, designer shopping bags, luxury hotels. Every picture included a date and time. My attorney smiled every time another vacation post appeared. "They're collecting evidence for us," he said. I never commented, never warned them, never told them what was happening. 2 weeks later, my phone rang. Dad was yelling before I could even say hello. "Our card stopped working. The hotel says our accounts are frozen." Mom grabbed the phone. "They won't let us check out." "What did you do?" My attorney did his job. Silence. Then Dad exploded. "You had no right." "I had every right. We're stranded. You have return tickets. We can't even pay the hotel." I remembered Mom laughing in the driveway. "That's unfortunate." He demanded I fix everything. Instead, I calmly told him to call his lawyer and ended the call. The investigation confirmed every unauthorized transfer. Login records, recovery email changes, banking logs, IP addresses, and their own vacation posts destroyed every excuse they tried to make in court. The judge ordered immediate repayment. They couldn't pay. Most of the money had already been spent. Their retirement accounts were seized. Their vacation home was sold. Dad's truck disappeared after creditors claimed it. Mom stopped posting online. Relatives started calling me. Some begged me to forgive them because they're still your parents. Others quietly admitted this wasn't the first time Mom and Dad had taken advantage of family members financially. I never argued. I simply emailed copies of the court filings whenever someone questioned me. The conversations ended immediately. 6 months later, I signed the paperwork for the commercial building I'd wanted for years. Between recovered funds, insurance, and the court judgment, I finally had the keys in my hand. I walked through the empty warehouse by myself. Concrete floors, fresh paint, sunlight pouring through the loading doors. It wasn't luxurious. It was earned. That evening, Mom left me one voicemail: "I hope you're happy." There was still no apology. I deleted it without listening again. The next morning, I unlocked the front door of my own building, turned on the lights, and got back to work.